Negative.
You want to work here, get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, sir.
Yes, have some.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Listen live link there in the top right corner. You can also stream the show on YouTube Live. That's right, the channel is on right now. Nation of Jake on YouTube, one word, Nation of Jake. Also, follow along on Facebook and on the Twitter at Nation of Jake on this Monday, July 29th, the year of our Lord at 2019. Partly cloudy, 88 degrees, high of 90, with a chance of meatballs later on this afternoon. And by meatballs, I mean thunderstorms. It's supposed to rain a little bit later this evening into tomorrow. But I am encouraged by the temperatures I'm seeing in the extended forecast. I mean, the heat indices, it's going to be mid-90s, but the temperatures are like, 85, 87, 89. I'll take it. I hope you had a fantastic tax-free weekend if you got out and took advantage of the tax savings in Tennessee and Mississippi. I believe next weekend is maybe this weekend in Arkansas. So if you did not get out for the tax-free weekend, you can go across the bridge, go hit up the West Memphis Walmart for your tax savings this weekend. So much going on over the weekend. You had the FedEx St. Jude Invitational. Brooks Koepka, the champion, the World Golf Classic, the inaugural World Golf Classic FedEx St. Jude Invitational. He had a lot of nice things to say about Memphis, so it was good to see Brooks Koepka win. I believe 15 under. He beat out Rory McIlroy. If you're into golf, all that makes sense to you. If not, you couldn't care less. Hamilton at the Orpheum. I was living large there at the Orpheum on Saturday night, checking out the show, Hamilton. And it's amazing how many people didn't know who Alexander Hamilton was. And everything they know about Hamilton, they got from this musical. A very complicated man, a consequential figure in American history. I knew all about it because I'm a scholar and I'm well-read and well-versed in American history. But everybody else was like, oh my God, there was a sex scandal? Oh my God. It's like, yeah, it was like the first one. He wasn't the first one to pay off prostitutes with hush money payments. And well, Trump wasn't. It was Hamilton and all those guys. They're all kind of dirtbags. And then also over the weekend, we had Democrats calling Donald Trump a racist. That's not anything new. That's pretty much par for the course. This time, they're calling him racist for pointing out the city of Baltimore, Maryland is corrupt, crime-ridden, and infested with rats. I mean, all those things are true. Then why is it racist? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, the radio trade deadline. This is the radio trade deadline this Wednesday. A lot of people don't know about the radio trade deadline. They associate July 31st with the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and a lot of rumors, a lot of rumblings, a lot of deadline deals, not just in Major League Baseball, but also in radio. So I've never been traded at the radio trade deadline, but I'm hoping that'll change. In fact, I've got some scenarios under which I would approve trades around the Memphis radio scene, nationally. I'll accept a trade to another market. You just got to get your name out there. I'm not going to go so far as to demand a trade just yet. Maybe we'll get into that in a little bit, and also up to Wednesday's radio trade deadline. The government, by the way, is trying to fine you for your dank memes. Everybody likes memes, and the government wants to make it easier for people to fine you for it, like $15,000 for sharing like a fresh meme that you possibly don't own the rights to. So we'll get into that. That is some dangerous bipartisan legislation. Sometimes the bipartisan stuff is what you have to watch out for. And we'll also get into all the headlines of the day and over the weekend in the news cruise coming up. First, though, before we get into the old Baltimore Trump's a racist stuff, let's talk about another city that's got some problems. Our fair city of Memphis, Tennessee. All right. Memphis has good things going on. A lot of development, a lot of positive stuff going on here in the city, but there's a crime problem. Even though they said that crime is down in Memphis, Murders are up over 2018, which is never good. And we've got a battle mayoral coming up in just about 2 months. October 3rd is the battle mayoral. Your main candidates, contenders in the battle mayoral are, of course,
Mayor Mr. Strickland,
Jim Strickland, the incumbent, and you've got Willie Harrington, who is romanticizing his reign as mayor for 17 or so years, saying, let's do it again. So Willie Harrington, he gets a lot of ink, a lot of publicity. You've also got Tammy Sawyer out there, Leo Agawat, Charlie Birch, and some other candidates who aren't as visible. That said, we're just going to focus on 2 candidates right now. That would be Mayor Jim Strickland, the incumbent, and the challenger, one of them, Willie Harrington. Now, a week or so ago, Willie Harrington came out, had a press conference about the riverfront, about Tom Lee Park, the controversy on the river. Tom Lee Park, all right, which is just fine, wide open park, the site for Memphis and May, both Barbecue Fest and Music Fest, yada, yada, you know the whole deal. Well, there's this $60, $70 million plan to overhaul it. It's got people from Memphis and May concerned that it won't accommodate the festivals. And so this is a point of contention now in the battle mayoral. Willie Harrington came out last week or the week before and said, look, if I'm elected mayor, I'm going to scrap this whole plan. We're not going to do it, putting pressure on Jim Strickland to come out and respond to anybody who's saying, he's trying to kick the can down the road, and then he's going to do whatever he wants when he's reelected, should he be reelected. Well, Mayor Strickland on Friday, he came out to put to rest any misinformation, so he says, after feeling pressure from outside groups and one of his opponents in the upcoming mayoral election, a.k.a. Battle Mayoral. Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland said Friday that the Memphis and May Festival will remain in Tom Lee Park in 2020 and relocate for just 1 year. That will be 2021. Now, we thought that after this year, after 2019's festival, that they were going to shut down Riverside, take it down to just 1 lane in each direction, and then for the next year, there would be no Memphis and May in Tom Lee Park. Well, that all got kind of pushed back because the Tom Lee Park redesign still has not been signed off on by the Corps of Engineers. Therefore, it's going to be pushed back. And then maybe they speculated that Memphis and May would be out of the park for 2 years. Well, Jim Strickland saying no. Here's what's going to happen. 2020, it's in the park. Tom Lee Park will be the site for Memphis and May, both barbecue and Music Fest and anything else they want to do. They're in Tom Lee Park. Now, in 2021, it will not be in the park. It will be absent for 1 year. And he's saying that no matter what happens, the Tom Lee Park redesign will accommodate Memphis and May. The quote from
Mr. Strickland,
misinformation abounds in the public conversation around this issue, so allow me to set a few things straight today, said Strickland in his weekly update email. We're currently mediating the future layout of Tom Lee Park, not whether Memphis and May will remain in Tom Lee Park. Now, founders of the Memphis and May Festival and former Mayor Willie Harrington, who is running against Strickland in the battle mayoral, have called for the mediation over the $60 million renovation plans to end. See, I thought that the mediation did end, like it was put on hold. They've also asked a new plan be designed for the whole riverfront to replace a master plan that already exists. Harrington even said that if he's elected, he could dissolve the Memphis River Parks Partnership, which is the quasi-governmental entity that manages the river parks. And, going to that term, quasi-governmental, who elected them? Nobody. What's their business structure? A nonprofit. And I love that. I love that they're a nonprofit, even though some people that I know who run nonprofits are the wealthiest people that I know. Isn't that weird? Yeah. When I was living in Atlanta, my next door neighbor, this woman ran a nonprofit. Her house, $500,000. I'm like, that's interesting. Because here's the thing with a nonprofit, especially one like this, that's doing like $70 million deals and taking the lion's share of that from the taxpayers. Somebody's profiting. All right, the people who run Memphis River Parks Partnership, they are profiting. And I know that's not what nonprofit means. But every time I see, oh, what do you do? I run a nonprofit. Oh, yeah. How much you make? Oh, 300 grand. Phew, you're profiting. Calling that a nonprofit is a misnomer. So in quasi-governmental, it's like they have all this power, and they're kind of like consultants. And there's only a few of them. And, the people's will be damned. We're the quasi-governmental entity. That is so dangerous, isn't it? Well, how exactly are you in charge of this? Well, the government kind of put us in charge of it. Really? So I'm quasi-governmental. It does not appear that Strickland is going to acquiesce to those demands, the ones to dissolve the Memphis River Parks partnership. He said opponents of the renovations were trying to mislead the public. Strickland said mediation would continue and that the Memphis in May Festival would be relocated for just 1 year, as he outlined in the top line of his weekly email. My commitment has been clear. A Tom Lee Park that will enable Memphis in May International Festival to continue to thrive for decades to come will better serve Memphians the other 11 months out of the year. All right. So he's saying, hey, we're going to have our cake and we're going to eat it too, because having cake and not being able to eat it is pointless. So, that's it. That's Jim Strickland. That's your incumbent mayor getting ready for the battle mayoral in no uncertain terms, telling you we will renovate Tom Lee Park. It will accommodate Memphis in May, and it'll only be out of the park for 1 year. The question is, what's the alternate site for Memphis in May? That's a good question. Is it Tiger Lane? Barbecue, that works out pretty well. Now, as far as the music festival, much bigger crowds, a lot of traffic, people getting in and out each night. Yeah, that's going to be a tougher putt, so to speak. Maybe they'll do something out at Shelby Farms. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. That said, Memphis, if this is the biggest problem we have, which is not, then things are going better. If this is the big controversy that Willie Harrington is gonna bring out against Mayor Strickland, then things are kind of going in the right direction, aren't they? If you want to, table the crime problem, which that's a really tough problem to solve, and it's not going to get solved in a matter of 3 or 4 years, or even 10 years. That is a long haul kind of solution. You need to find out how to do it, which I don't know if anybody's going to be able to do that. Again, time will tell. You just got to get on the right track and get a plan and stick with it. But this one, it's just pretty clear cut what Mayor Strickland is saying about Memphis in May. And we'll see. People are going to shift the conversation over to Mud Island. What's the deal with Mud Island? Why is the infrastructure of the city crumbling? These are all the things that people are saying about a lot of big cities. A lot of them. Chicago and Cleveland, and the latest one is Baltimore, Maryland. All right, Baltimore has been the subject of debate all weekend long. This all stems from something that Donald Trump tweeted about Baltimore that has everybody angry. We'll get into that next, right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's The Retirement Income Doctor, hosted by Dave McAdams of the McAdams Group. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade, in any kind of market. That's right, the Retirement Income Doctor will teach you these strategies. So join us Saturday mornings at 10 for the Retirement Income Doctor.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard-to-reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
When you're planning an event and need on-time delivery, call Odell Sanders. Sanders Catering has been in business for 31 years, specializing in breakfast, lunch, dinners, corporate, and social events. When you need a caterer to work with your budget, call Odell Sanders at 901-372-2631 or visit them online at sanderscatering.com and take a look at their menu. Sanders Catering, a leader in catering services. Call today at 901-372-2631.
Free Talk Live.
Why label them citizens? Why not just call it what it is? You're a serf. You're a slave.
The heavy-handed language that you're speaking out against the government is, I never heard anything like this on the radio.
Would you prefer to have your brains eaten, or would you prefer to become one of them?
The whole world is going into a world collapse. They said we have till the 1st of June.
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy, I've been fascinated with animals, especially their tireless work ethic. Just look at birds who gather supplies to build nests, or penguins who travel up to 500 miles to secure food for their families. This work ethic is shared by our best friends, canines who perform life-saving work every day. Dogs comfort returning veterans. They work with diabetics, alerting them when there's a change in their blood chemistry. Working dogs are valuable in many ways. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. The channel is Nation of Jake. Go there, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, follow along on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake. All right, other than this band you're hearing right now, Clutch, I really don't care about anything that's come out of Baltimore, Maryland. Ever. All right, it's like last on the list of places that I want to go. I've been before. But other than Clutch, really. And then that chef dude, Duff. He's from Charm City Cakes, Baltimore, MD. I'm not really interested, but everybody else was over the weekend. Everybody else is rushing to the defense of Baltimore City. They're in the Mid-Atlantic, in Maryland. Not sure why. I went to Baltimore one time. I was on the road with the Atlanta Braves. And so I'd been all over the East Coast. All right, I would go to New York multiple times a year, Miami multiple times a year. I would go to Philadelphia multiple times a year, D.C., all over the East Coast. But we were in the National League. All right, so I was in a lot of National League cities. We'd go to the other divisions too. We'd go to Pittsburgh, and we'd go to St. Louis, and we'd go to Chicago. We'd go out west. It was fine. It was a great time. I only got to go to Baltimore once. All right, and I was known among the crew as the early riser, get out and see the city. Because I didn't know how long I was going to have that gig. When you're in radio, you never know how long you're going to have a gig. And here I was on the road with the Major League Baseball team. I was going to go see the country, going to all these great cities. And so what I like to do is get up, go walk around, explore the city, get a feel for it, pick out a couple spots I wanted to hit up later, like after the ball game, and then have a few drinks and then go do it again, right? Well, most places we'd go were pretty nice places. I mean, San Diego, awesome. I mean, we were in D.C. You got to know where to go, right? But it was, for the most part, pretty good spot to hit up. When I went to Baltimore, things were a little bit different. All right, everybody was like, hey, Jakey, well, we know you like to get out and explore. Maybe be more careful here in Baltimore City. I'm like, well, why is that? It's like, you ever watch The Wire? I'm like, sure. I said, you don't want to get lost in Baltimore. Getting lost in the gas lamp in San Diego is different than getting lost in Baltimore City. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And stay Inner Harbor, maybe just that main line from the Inner Harbor down to the ballpark, and you'll probably be all right. But don't go exploring out in Baltimore. And it was very simple. Dangerous place to go. I mean, we're talking about one of the most crime-ridden, corrupt, nastiest cities in the US of A. That's not to say that other cities don't have problems. Baltimore is a lot like a lot of other cities that have been run by Democrats for 30, 40, 50 years. Now, I looked it up. Baltimore's last Republican mayor served in 1967. All right, so it's been a while, 50 plus years, that Democrats have run the joint. And this has very little to do with race. Okay, so Donald Trump over the weekend, maybe late last week, he was defending himself against guys like Elijah Cummings. Elijah Cummings, representative from Baltimore, I guess the 7th District of Maryland. This guy's on, I guess, the House Intelligence Committee or oversight, one of those committees. And they have all those hearings, and they were having the hearings with Mueller last week, and they were coming out and attacking the president, talking about impeachment, all that kind of stuff. So Donald Trump went to a tactic that he's done before. Donald Trump called out Elijah Cummings for his nasty, crumbling district that is infested with rats and rodents. All right, he's done this to Congressman John Lewis before about Atlanta. He would, if he had the presence of mind, call out Steve Cohen for it as well. He could do that. He could say, oh, Tennessee's 9th District, you got crumbling City Hall, you've got a shuttered Coliseum, you've got Mud Island is dilapidated, and you've got a lot of crime. He could do that. But because Elijah Cummings is black, it's racist, right? I mean, that's really it, because every headline you saw was Donald Trump attacks black lawmaker over his quote-unquote infested district, and no human being would want to live there. That's the headline, that's the take. But President Trump, the language he used was very specific. He called the district represented by Elijah Cummings a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess. All right. And so there were some people from Baltimore saying, oh, that's code words for black and brown people, rats and rodents. That's new. I did not know that was a code word. In fact, I believe Donald Trump was actually talking about rats and rodents. I think he was talking about vermin. I think he was talking about actual animals. All right. In fact, PBS just aired a documentary called Rat Film, which depicts the literal rat infestation of Baltimore and the local government's inability to get to the bottom of it and solve it, and how that is kind of a microcosm of all the problems in Baltimore. All right. Baltimore is corrupt. The last 3 Democrat mayors of Baltimore have I think, had to resign in disgrace because they're corrupt and they're ineffective. I think that the crimes per 100,000 residents is like 3,500 if you count violent crime and property crime. 3,500 per 100,000. That's like 1,000% more than, say, in Memphis. It's insane. I was just reading, CBS News had a little sponsored ad on Facebook. In Baltimore City, Maryland, was number 2 most dangerous city, second to St. Louis, Missouri. Memphis was number 8, and we know how dangerous parts of Memphis are. So the gap there, and Baltimore is not a very nice place. In fact, I think that we might have some audio of what has been said about Baltimore. I just need to navigate and get to it. If you'll just give me a second. I mean, these are the kinds of things that are said about Baltimore. All right, let's take a listen.
Is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country.
All right. So that was Bernie Sanders, who is not a Republican, talking about Baltimore, walking through the neighborhoods, thinking you're in a third world country. Nobody called Bernie Sanders racist when he said that. In fact, he's there with who I believe is now the current mayor of Baltimore, talking about the problems in Baltimore. Now, I'm not sure if it's the best tactic. You know, Donald Trump, what he'll do is he'll tell people, listen, you need to spend more time representing the people of your district and get your own house in order before you start coming after me with all these hearings and all this impeachment talk. Now, I mean, I'm not sure how effective the tactic is, but I will say this, the whole, oh, that's racist thing, it's getting tired. I think people are just kind of tired of it. I mean, because how long can you sit there and repeat that until it means nothing? Donald Trump didn't say it was disgusting and infested with black and brown people. That's not what he said. What he said was it is infested with rats and rodents, which it is. And that's a problem for a lot of cities. Now, it also comes down to this, though. If you really want to dial it down, it's a fundamental difference in how we believe the government should work. I mean, should guys like Elijah Cummings go from his 7th District of Maryland there in Baltimore City and the surrounding areas? Should he be going to Congress and first and foremost be focusing on impeaching the president? Or should he be going to Congress to confer with other people from other districts on ways he can improve his district? I mean, to me, that's like the whole deal. Instead of all these representatives, whether they're in the House or the Senate, going to D.C. to handle national business, it should be kind of like a conference. They congress and they share ideas. That way, a guy like Representative Elijah Cummings could say, yeah, my district has a crime problem. So I'm going to get together with somebody in the district who has crime low and has that problem licked, and we're going to share some ideas. I'm going to take those ideas back to my district, and I'm going to get the local governments and consult with them on how we can fix it. I mean, that's the way it should work. And so let's say, a representative from Texas could say to a representative from New York, hey, you guys are doing really well in education. Oh, let's say a representative from Minnesota or Wisconsin. Hey, you guys are doing well in education. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? We might want to implement some of your plans, borrow from you. Say, hey, I'm glad you asked there, representative from Texas. We would like to get better at job creation, and we see you guys are really kicking ass in that department. So what are you guys doing? Let's just trade ideas. Let's just trade notes. And then you take those ideas back, and then you make your districts better, and then a bunch of experiments, all these different districts, different states, different local governments improving their lot. That improves the country as a whole, rather than just sending a bunch of representatives to go run the national government. I mean, we are one nation, sure, but we are built of different states and cities and locales and districts for a reason. So, look, so this whole thing now, Al Sharpton has gotten involved because, of course, Al Sharpton's got involved. Anytime anybody calls anything racist, Al Sharpton will show up like some tragic hero. All right, Al Sharpton had this to say about Donald Trump's remarks about Baltimore.
He attacks everybody. I know Donald Trump. He's not mature enough to take criticism. He can't help it. He's like a child. Somebody says something, he reacts. He's thin-skinned and not really matured that well. But he has a particular venom for blacks and people of color.
So, I mean, he's not wrong on the first half. But the particular venom for blacks and people of color, nobody ever said this stuff about Donald Trump until he became president. Nobody ever did. In fact, there's a lot of photos of Donald Trump with guys like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Well, they thought he was great. Donald Trump was getting NAACP awards and whatnot, because here's the truth about it. Guys like Reverend Al Sharpton and guys like Donald Trump and guys like Jesse Jackson, they're all grifters. They're all grifters. They jump in front of parades. They're all thin-skinned. And now you've got Democrat politicians, people running for president like Kamala Harris, who's coming out and praising Reverend Al Sharpton, who I don't even like calling a reverend. Al Sharpton, she's saying, oh, Al Sharpton has served us and done so much for the black community. Al Sharpton's an anti-Semite and a grandstander and a con man and has been for a long, long time. And by the way, his head is massive. Massive. I mean, it's just like he's like orange on a toothpick. It's massive. All right. So look, with regards to Baltimore, I don't give a crap about it. I don't like that East Coast seasoning. I'm not into Old Bay. I'm a Zatarans man. All right. So I don't care about Baltimore. I mean, the Orioles have been largely irrelevant for years. The Ripken brothers aside, Brooks Robinson, Earl Weaver, I like those guys, but they hadn't played in years, decades. So I'm really not interested in baseball in Baltimore. You can keep your crab cakes. Not into the Old Bay. Like I said, I'm a Zatarans man. And it is ratty. Orkin says that Baltimore is one of the country's rattiest cities. Big ones, both in size and quantity. All right. So the president, and listen, he's pointed this kind of stuff out. Like I said, infrastructure in Atlanta, crime in Atlanta. You know, if he had to get real honest with you about Memphis, he'd point out the crime and infrastructure problems here. He wouldn't get called a racist because Steve Cohen is not black. He'd be called anti-Semitic because Steve Cohen is Jewish. That's just the way it works. Like, you just have to say, oh, you attacked me, and then based on my identity politics, you hate X. All right. And so Trump has called out Trump country for stuff. He called West Virginia out for having pills, it being drug infested. Same with New Hampshire. He called New Hampshire a drug infested state. So he's used this language before, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's racist. Is it the best politics in the world? Probably not. It's small, and that's just it about Donald Trump. I was talking about this the other day. He is his own attack dog. You know, a lot of presidents, most presidents in years past have always stayed above the fray, and they would have Democrat or Republican attack dogs to go out and say these things and defend them, but they themselves stayed above the fray, try to be a uniter. Donald Trump is his own attack dog, and that's just who he is, and that's what he's doubled down on, and that's what we're going to see coming up here in 2020. And I think that's a lot of the reason why people like him. Guys like W, they called him Hitler. They said that Mitt Romney they said that Mitt Romney caused cancer. That he killed some woman because Bain Capital bought a business and they fired everybody. They lost their benefits and this woman died of cancer. So Mitt Romney's evil. He loves cancer and he wants ladies to get it. And they said all this stuff. He's a tax cheat. And W and Mitt Romney are pretty righteous dudes. So it's like, look, if you're going to call whoever is on the Republican side evil, then put somebody in there who will fight back. And that's what I think people like Donald Trump for. They like it. They like when he does stuff like this. So I'm not really that into it, but people like it, and that's just kind of where it is. You want to play that race card. Play it. Go ahead. But don't be surprised when that card gets declined. Because it will. It'll get declined sooner or later. You keep on swiping it. Keep on swiping it with reckless abandon. Your race card's going to get declined. You'll be like, oh, you don't take this anymore? Oh, man, what do I do now? All right, coming up, some kid won $3 million playing Fortnite, which kind of torpedoes my whole argument against playing Fortnite. But coming up, though, the radio trade deadline. This is really important stuff. This could impact your daily listening on the airwaves. So stay tuned for that. It's coming up next in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. Police in Gilroy, California have identified the shooter in yesterday's festival shooting as 19-year-old Santino Logan. He was shot and killed by police, but not before he killed 3 people and wounded a dozen others. Police Chief Scott Smithy says the motive remains unclear.
I don't know what, if any, association there is. It seems that this was a random act, but again, we've got a long way to go before we can come to a determination what his motivation was.
Smithy says Logan was armed with an AK-47 style assault rifle and cut his way through a fence to avoid security at the city's annual Garlic Festival.
We had thousands of people there in a very small area, and it could have gone so much worse so fast. And so I'm really proud that they got there as quickly as they did and that they were successful in taking the threat out of the equation.
And the investigation continues, as does a search for possible accomplice. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
Do you like fine cigars? Then visit Crossroads Cigar Emporium, located at 1403 West Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. They carry all of your favorite brands, like El Artista, Cohiba, Padron, Upsetter, Tatiana, Arturo Fuente, Monte Cristo, and more. Crossroads also carries more than 30 brands of pipe tobacco, plus premium handmade pipes. Come smoke with us at Crossroads Cigar Emporium, open Monday through Thursday and Saturdays from 10 to 7, Fridays 10 to 8, and Sundays 11 to 6. Happy Pasita!
This is Clark Howard. Drug company stocks soared into the stratosphere recently when they won a lawsuit that invalidated a federal rule that would require that they publish in their TV ads telling you how great a drug is, what it actually costs to get that drug. Because the drug makers knew that if they had to tell you that this miracle drug they're pushing would cost who knows how much money, and they had to tell you what that how much was, that people wouldn't be excited about asking their doctor for it. You got to understand the game, and the drug makers don't want you to. They con you into going into the doctor's office and pushing him or her to write you a script for it because you're sold on it by the ad. Don't fall for that. Instead, know what inexpensive alternatives are. Like take the Walmart $4 prescription list in with you when you go to see your doctor.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor. Hey, I'm Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench. I used to hit dingers and throw lasers when I was a Major League Baseball player. Now I do yard work, raise my boys, and get the occasional 18 holes in, but I still have to deal with that Hall of Fame pain. I use Blue Emu pain relief products. The Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis or Continuous Spray are easy to use. I just spray or rub it on. No stinging or burning. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, streaming live on the YouTube. Nation of Jake is the channel. One word, Nation of Jake. Run it all together. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter at Nation of Jake. All right, so July 31st is Wednesday. I have a dentist appointment that day. That's not important right now. It is also Major League Baseball's trade deadline, which is also not important right now. It's not a sports show. But people go, oh man, trade deadline. Yeah, but people don't know that it's also the radio trade deadline. All right, so people hearing rumblings of trades that go on in the radio industry. Now, this is a lot like the Major League Baseball trade deadline. You have until 7:31 to make a trade. I believe 4 or 5 p.m. You got to get your faxes in to the commissioner of baseball and then of radio for these trades to be official. Now, we know a lot about the big trades in recent years with Major League Baseball. Look, the one that stands out for me, it's not so recent. Back in I believe the 80s, it was a big trade between the Detroit Tigers and the Atlanta Braves. The Detroit Tigers, I believe, got Gaylord Perry. Doyle Alexander was not Gaylord. I just like saying Gaylord Perry. Doyle Alexander, pitcher for the Braves, was sent to Detroit, to the Tigers, in exchange for a prospect named John Smoltz. Now, Doyle Alexander did what he needed to do. I think it might have been 84. I think it was in the 80s. Yeah, it may have been. It was Doyle Alexander went down the stretch. He won some games, and I believe Detroit won the pennant. All right, and then the Braves were like, we're going to build for the future. We're going to get this young John Smoltz guy. And then John Smoltz became one of the greatest pitchers in Atlanta Braves history. So it worked out for both sides. You hope for trades like that, especially in the radio trade deadline. Another trade, what was it, Carlos Beltran? He was with the Kansas City Royals, and he got traded to the Houston Astros in 2004. And the Astros, 2005, 04, I think it was 04. Carlos Beltran, he killed it in the playoffs. And I'm not sure who the hell KC got, but that was that. There's big trades I remember. And, there's massive trades in baseball history. But in radio, it's a little bit different in that trades rarely happen, but there is a deadline. I have my trade, I wouldn't call them demands. I'm not a diva. I'm not demanding a trade. However, everybody's on the block. Anybody can be traded. There's no 10-5 rights or anything like that. So at the radio trade deadline, I'm not going to call them my demands, but I have my preferences as to where I might want to go, because these can be trades from market to market. I could get traded out of market and I have to move my family. So I would accept trades to Atlanta. I've got roots there. Seattle. I would love to live in Seattle at some point in my life. So I would accept a trade to one of the great stations in Seattle, like KISW or Como or Cairo, one of the two. Boston. I might want to live in Beantown. So WAAF needed, say, an afternoon guy on the rock station there. WEEI, I guess there's still news talk. I'm not sure. I could live in Boston. I could live out in Phoenix. KUPD. I could work for a Phoenix rock station. That'd be fine. San Diego, I would live in the finest city in America, no problem. 91X, it'd be fine. I'd live there, or Luxembourg if we want to go international. I could live in Luxembourg. It's about my speed. So, those are the markets I'd be willing to go to. I would not be willing to go to Baltimore, Maryland, all right, because it's infested with rats. And they use Old Bay seasoning instead of Zatarans. So Baltimore's off the table. I'll retire before I go play radio. We're talking about the radio trade deadline. I will retire before I do radio in Baltimore, MD. Formats. You can do formats. All right. I will accept a trade to a rock station, a classic rock station, an alternative rock station. I'll even do a country air shift. And then in the next couple days, I'll have my air checks for all these different formats so you can hear what I sound like on all these different stations. Because I'll also be doing it on YouTube as well, so you'll be coming with me. So if I get traded to a country station, it's got to be like a 90s country station. I can do Garth Brooks and Clint Black and Dwight Yoakam and stuff like that. It can't be any new country. I'm not going to be talking up Florida Georgia Line records. It won't happen. All right? Because today's country is crap. I will also accept a trade to whatever the hell that Guess FM station is. Whatever they call that format. Because they just play a bunch of Huey Lewis and stuff that I grew up on. It's just like I'll accept that trade. Also, college radio. Because college radio is easy because all the DJs and hosts on college radio suck. But they still get to do it. I don't know if I get college credit. I will veto any trades to pop stations. Hip-hop stations, unless it's an old-school hip-hop station. I veto a trade to any NPR station and also any Christian radio station. I would not be welcome in those places. It would not be a work environment that I think would be healthy for anyone. Therefore, I'll veto those trades. I'm hoping to be involved in a blockbuster here locally. All right. I want to be in a 3-station trade that sends Ron Olson to WEVL, and I end up on WRVR with Karen Perrin for just like 3 days or maybe a week, and then they can non-tender me, release me, and I can sign a waiver deal with the Soul Classics station. because I think I could do well there. So that's kind of the rundown of where I'd be willing to go. I might put the full court press on George to get together with Bohannon down the street and maybe loop in some other radio executives here in town to see what we can do about working out the best deal for everyone. Maybe even get on the horn with the people from Seattle. I don't know. But that's just letting you know, not many people know about the radio trade deadline. It's a real thing. All right, so this could really impact your daily listening, not just to KWAM, but any other radio stations you may skip to or visit on your way back to The Voice here at FM 107.9 and AM 990. So the best way to keep up with where I get traded is to go subscribe on YouTube to The Nation of Jake, because that ain't going anywhere. That is. I got a no trade clause on the YouTube. Yeah. It's like 10 and 5 rights. I've only been around here for like a year. So there you have it. Radio trade deadline. That's the latest. Coming up, did you hear about this kid who won $3 million playing Fortnite? Kind of torpedoes your whole argument about kids playing video games, doesn't it? We'll get into that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Live from Memphis, it's the Eye on Memphis show with host Betty Lamar. Eye on Memphis is wall-to-wall conversations featuring top doctors and community leaders monitoring social disparities in healthcare. Eye on Memphis with Betty Lamar on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. Saturdays at 12 noon. Sponsored in part by AM Diabetes and Endocrinology Center in Bartlett.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Whatever you may be interested in, chances are you can find some valuable information in the July edition of The Best Times, now available on your local newsstand. Don't miss articles about elder abuse, the dangers of using marijuana, the value of lifelong learning, the myth of taking vitamin D to reduce development of type 2 diabetes, which CDs are best for you, legal documents that everyone should have to protect their assets, and so much more. The Best Times is available at all Kroger and CVS pharmacies. Get your copy today.
Our daughter Emmy was just 19 months old. I'm Bodie Miller, and this is my wife Morgan.
She was such a bright light in our lives. While visiting a friend's house, Emmy drowned in a pool. She slipped out the back door, and in the space of minutes, she was gone.
Drowning is the single leading cause of death in children ages 1 to 4.
We believe it should be the #1 thing parents think about when it comes to safety.
Drowning is preventable.
This is urgent. Please talk with your pediatrician about how to keep your child safe.
Start your day with America in the Morning, your daily radio news magazine. I'm John Trout, and weekday mornings we'll bring you the top stories and latest breaking news from our correspondents around the country. You'll get sports highlights, a business update, the nation's weather, the Hollywood Minute, and much more. So join us right here for America in the Morning.
Weekdays on your local voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. We got the YouTube channel live, Nation of Jake there on YouTube. Go check that out, share it with your friends, tell them to subscribe, because who knows, by Wednesday, this show could be on another station, and you will need to keep up with me on YouTube to find out where I land with the radio trade deadline. Hopefully I don't end up on K-Love. That would just be awkward for everybody, okay? So, no disrespect to the JC, but it's not my speed. Okay, so I was reading about this kid from Pennsylvania, Kyle Giersdorf. He won $3 million for the top spot in New York's global Fortnite online video game tournament. That's right, a tournament of Fortnite. So your kid is up in his room playing Fortnite all the time, right? And you're like, gotta get him off the Fortnite. He's addicted. Well, I'm sure that Kyle Giersdorf's parents may have thought that at one point, but the 16-year-old defeated more than 100 players competing for $30 million in total prize money. Giersdorf, whose player's name is Buga, won the solo finals by scoring 59 points, dominating 26 above his nearest competitor, Psalm. And his part of the $30 million of winnings is $3 million. Now, this Fortnite event was held at Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York, just off the number 7 train. You go up there, and that's where the old U.S. Open is. It was the same stop as when you would get off for like Citi Field or before that, Shea Stadium. And you'd be like, oh yeah, there it is, Arthur Ashe Stadium there in Queens. Words can't even explain it. I'm just so happy. Booga, Kyle Giersdorf said, everything I've done, the grind, it's all paid off. It's just insane. Along with Giersdorf, 2 other professional video gamers became millionaires from their talent this weekend. 16-year-old Emil Bergqvist Pedersen from Norway, known as Nyrox, and 17-year-old David Aqua Wang from Austria won the Fortnite World Cup Duo Championship, beating 50 other teams to share a $3 million prize. So Giersdorf, Booga, won $3 million himself, and these 2 other like doubles partners. It's like tennis, right? They got $1.5 million each. The game developer Epic Games released Fortnite in 2017 with a free-to-play scheme where many players interact and collaborate during a match for survival. It's a game. It's like you go out, you build stuff, you get weapons, you kill people, and then you dance in Fortnite. It's an odd game. It's not something I'm into because when I was a kid, it started for me with the Intellivision. I didn't have an Intellivision. My cousins did. And I remember Coleco and Intellivision. They had like the little paddles. You could play Pong. All right, that's where it started for me. My earliest memory of a video game console. And then it went into Atari 2600. That was like the first one we owned. And you played Pitfall and Mega Mania and Kaboom. And these were great video games. They were time wasters. They were fun. Good for spatial skills. And then it elevated to the Nintendo Entertainment System, the classic one with Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers, and then later Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and the good games like Metroid. Love Metroid and Zelda, and that kind of stuff. Then I got a Sega Genesis. And I love the Sega Genesis to a point, and I said, you know what? Video games are a waste of time. I'm going to trade it for a Huffy Sigma. So I got a bike. I was like, I traded my Sega for a bike. So I got out into the world, and I got into guitar, and I never looked back. I think I may have owned a PlayStation at one point. That said, kids are making a living playing video games because kids will get a YouTube channel where other kids will watch them play video games. It's really weird. The only guy I've ever wanted to watch play video games was a guy I went to college with named Kyla Wilson. This dude was the most prolific video gamer I ever saw. This guy, Kylie, lived down the hall from me. He's my grade, my year, everything. I came to his room, was hanging out one day, and I saw that he had a Super Nintendo. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, the only game I got into on Super Nintendo was Super Metroid. He's like, I'll beat Super Metroid in 20 minutes. I was like, no way. Super Metroid's like 10 times bigger than regular Metroid. There's no way you're going to beat it in 20 minutes. And you know what that guy did? He got on, he beat it in 20 minutes. I was like, how did you do that? And so, for me, Kyla Wilson is the best video gamer there ever was. Beating Super Metroid in 20 minutes. That said, he did not make $3 million doing it. And he's got to be really angry about that. All right, coming up, what the hell do we have? Oh, yeah. Your memes are getting fined.
The Mid-South station with the most local talk and CBS News at the top of every hour. KWAM, Memphis.
This
is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Shenevy. The death toll stands at 4, including Santino Ligon, the gunman in yesterday's shooting spree at a garlic festival in Gilroy, California. A dozen people wounded. Correspondent Steve Futterman has the latest.
Officials here are still trying to determine why the 19-year-old gunman opened fire. So far, says Police Chief Scott Smithy, they don't know.
We don't have a motive for the shooting as yet. We did have reports of a potential second suspect. We don't have any confirmation that any second suspect did any shooting.
In fact, it's not clear if there even was a second suspect. The 3 people killed include a 6-year-old boy, a 13-year-old girl, and a man in his 20s. Steve Futterman, CBS News, Gilroy, California.
President Trump held a Rose Garden bill signing ceremony today, attended by some 60 first responders, as he made that 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund permanent.
This law makes permanent the financial support for families who lost precious loved ones as a result of September 11th attacks. It also provides pensions for those who are suffering from cancer and other illnesses stemming from the toxic debris they were exposed to in the aftermath of the attacks.
The U.S. military's casualty list has grown again in Afghanistan. CBS's Bill Rakoff.
U.S. officials say that 2 U.S. service members were killed today, and while Central Command is withholding information until the families can be notified, other officials speaking anonymously say that the service members were shot and killed by an Afghan soldier.
The president has announced his nominee to replace National Intelligence Director Dan Coats, who will be leaving that post at the end of the month. Correspondent Ben Tracy.
John Ratcliffe, he is a Texas Republican, member of the House, and that is the person that the president is going to nominate for this position. And there are some concerns. A lot of people say that he's a fierce partisan and a Trump loyalist, and that this would politicize this intelligence position, which is very important. This is the person who basically coordinates all 17 intelligence agencies within the government.
Correspondent Seth Doan has the latest on the murder of a Rome police officer, allegedly by 2 American teenagers.
This all started early Friday morning when Italian police say the Americans stole a backpack belonging to an Italian man, which included his cell phone. The man called the phone, and the Americans demanded a gram of cocaine and 100 euros to give the bag back. They set up a meeting point, and the Italian man tipped off the carabinieri.
The officer was stabbed multiple times. On Wall Street right now, the Dow is up 45 points, the Nasdaq down 37, the S&P 500 is off 4 points. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Shenevy.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you struggling to make the minimum payments? There are ways to get out of debt, but the credit card companies don't want you to know about it. Debt relief programs through United Debt Counselors can help people like you get out of credit card debt and put you on the path of debt freedom with just one low monthly payment program. Get started right now and call United Debt Counselors at 800-611-9060. Get rid of the stress of struggling to make that monthly payment. High interest rates will be a thing of the past, and chances are you won't have to pay the entire amount you owe. United Debt Counselors has helped thousands of people reduce more than $160 million of debt. You have a right to settle your debt for less than what you owe. You won't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. Get started reducing your debt now. Get free information today by calling United Debt Counselors at 800-611-9060. That's 800-611-9060. United Debt Counselors. Not available in all states.
A new theory on the cause of autism. Vicki Barker reports.
Autism has been defined as a lifelong developmental disability that affects how a person interacts with other people and how they experience the world around them. It tends to emerge around the ages of 2 or 3, but now British researchers say it may be triggered at least in part by exposure to high levels of the female hormone estrogen while still in the womb.
Remember the $6 million man? Well, soon you may be able to have his telephoto eyesight. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego have developed a robotic contact lens that you can control with eye movements to zoom in and out. Most so-called soft robots are controlled manually or pre-programmed, but these contacts are designed to work with the natural electric signals in the human eyeball, the so-called electro-oculographic signals that are active even when you close your eyes. To zoom in or out, you only need to blink twice. Jim Shenevy, CBS News.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you struggling to make the minimum payments? There are ways to get out of debt, but the credit card companies don't want you to know about it. Debt relief programs through United Debt Counselors can help people like you get out of credit card debt and put you on the path of debt freedom with just one low monthly payment program. Get started right now and call United Debt Counselors at 800-611-9060. Get rid of the stress of struggling to make that monthly payment. High interest rates will be a thing of the past, and chances are you won't have to pay the entire amount you owe. United Debt Counselors has helped thousands of people reduce more than $160 million of debt. You have a right to settle your debt for less than what you owe. You won't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. Get started reducing your debt now. Get free information today by calling United Debt Counselors at 800-611-9060. That's 800-611-9060. United Debt Counselors. Not available in all states.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears. Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right.
Yes, have some.
Welcome back to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, streaming live on the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Just go subscribe to it. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments. There's a live chat there. The best thing you can do, though, is tell your friends all about the Nation of Jake. I appreciate it. I'm here for now, next 2 days before the radio trade deadline, hoping I don't get traded to Baltimore, because depending on who you talk to, it's the worst place in the world infested by rats. But you can't say anything about the rats or you're a racist. It's weird. It's just a weird dynamic right now, because that is the national conversation happening here. It's not the conversation I would want to have, not in the Nation of Jake, but that's it, because apparently Donald Trump dictates the national conversation. This is the president who has been attacked by the House Democrats, singling out a guy, Elijah Cummings, and saying, "You, sir, your district sucks because there's a rat infestation and there's also crime and corruption and poverty. So you need to go handle your own business before you start getting into mine." Not sure that's how the government works. That said, everybody who is rushing to the defense of Baltimore, they do so at their own peril. I mean, come on. Baltimore's got a lot of problems. You can't ignore them and just say, no, Baltimore's a great American city and you're attacking America and you're racist. That doesn't make the problems in Baltimore go away. And now that Al Sharpton has jumped in, and Al Sharpton has a long history of problematic issues, including falsely claiming rape, the whole Tawana Bradley thing, bigotry, anti-Semitism, tax evasion, a lot of problems with Al Sharpton. And now all these 2020 Democrats, Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris, and the whole rest of them are lining up behind Al Sharpton. And it's like, hold on. You guys are turning a blind eye to the problems in Baltimore, and you are essentially endorsing Al Sharpton as being the mouthpiece for all the Baltimoreans and just everybody. I'm just not sure. This guy is a grifter of the highest order. And I'm talking about both Al Sharpton and Donald Trump here. I mean, good Lord. All of them, guys. All of them. All right, the only thing that scares me more than partisan politics in Washington, D.C. is bipartisan politics in Washington, D.C. When these folks get together and start agreeing on stuff, you need to have a very skeptical eye. All right, the other day I read something about a bipartisan bill that would get rid of robocalls. And I'm on board. This is great. Robocalls are terrible. Nobody likes robocalls. Get together and do something about it. And while you're at it, while you're getting rid of robocalls, make sure that commercials can't be like 10 times louder than the content on the TV. Okay? That's a good one. That's good. But usually it worries me when Democrats and Republicans get together, because then you get stuff like $1 trillion spending bills and ridiculous stuff like that. The latest, though, is the Congress is getting together a bipartisan bill working its way through Congress could drastically change how copyright claims are processed and will create a system to impose up to $30,000 in fines for anyone who shares protected material online. Yes, your memes, your dank memes, your fresh memes, Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man, guy pointing at his forehead, stuff like that. If you don't own those images, you could be fined $15,000 for sharing them. Oh, Congress wants to make it easier to sue people who send a meme or post images that they didn't create themselves, essentially a giveaway to lawyers who sue unsuspecting suckers for a living. So, you're on the Twitter and you share a meme, something that's been out there, something that should be protected under fair use. You're posting a picture that's already there on the internet, and you may add some words, or you might post somebody else's meme. The Senate Judiciary Committee last week approved the Copyright Alternative in Small Claims Enforcement Act of 2019. What is that? The case? I'm looking for the acronym, because they always have like these clever acronyms, right? This law creates a voluntary small claims board within the Copyright Office that will provide copyright owners with an alternative to the expensive process of bringing a copyright claim, including infringement and misrepresentation, in federal court. This new board, a new unelected board, would be called the Copyright Claims Board. It would allow recovery in each case of up to $30,000 in damages total, with a cap of $15,000 in statutory damages per work infringed, according to the Alliance, an advocacy group for the copyright industry. This is the CASE Act. Critics contend the CCB created would essentially provide a way for copyright trolls to target individuals or small businesses, to target individuals or small businesses to secure five-figure default judgments for innocent mistakes. Put another way, somebody who shares memes they didn't make could be on the hook for $30,000 in fines from folks who make a living from copyright lawsuits. Think about that for a second. Everybody likes memes. Everybody hates robocalls. Okay, do away with the robocalls. Everybody hates those. But everybody likes memes. Everybody likes the dank memes. That's why you go on the Facebook, man. That's why you go on the Twitter. It's for the memes, right? I mean, we're talking about meme warfare, how it's gotten really political, and that's really it. That's really it. They want to target based on politics. A petition on actionnetwork.org opposes the CASE Act. Have you ever shared a meme that you didn't make or downloaded a photo you saw on social media? If Congress has its way, you could soon get slapped with a $15,000 fine by copyright trolls with no chance of appeal just for doing normal stuff on the internet. That's right, just for doing normal stuff, like stealing people's photos and posting them. It's fine, right? That's what you're supposed to do on the internet. That's what the internet's built on. So no, I'm not for this. This is terrible. $15,000, that's a lot of money. That would bankrupt some people, man. I mean, everybody's talking about how everybody's poor, doesn't make enough money. You know, this economy only favors the super duper rich. And so what they want to do is implement some kind of law that favors rich people who can pay lawyers to go out, because the reason that they don't bring these claims is because they're difficult to win and they're expensive. Essentially, Congress is looking to make the fees less expensive for people who go out and pay to have things, litigation. People to go sue people. Make it easier to sue people for doing what? Sharing things on the internet. You know, did you make that meme? Listen, I've made memes and they've been hijacked. The best meme I ever did was a photo that I didn't own of Motley Crue, and they were all looking androgynous. All right, so I took that photo of early Motley Crue when they all look like chicks. They're all in their bondage gear. And I put the, little meme text on it with the impact font. And it says, vaping in the gender-neutral bathrooms. Because the Smoking in the Boys' Room by Brownsville Station was famously covered by Motley Crue. And so I was updating the hits So I posted this meme that I made with my own brain, even though I stole the photo and I don't have the right to that. Vaping in the transgender neutral bathroom as a way to update the hits. Because this day and age, people don't smoke anymore, they vape. And boys' room is outdated because bathrooms are gender neutral. Bang, birth of a meme. I put it out on the internet, and you know what happened? It was on ebombsworld.com. It was getting shared like crazy. Millions of people have seen this meme. I made it. I didn't watermark it, but I made that meme. I created that meme. I'm not going to go out and sue somebody for $15,000 for sharing it. I was flattered. I was like, thank you, E-Bomb. I appreciate it. You know, at least in my head, I know I was the maker of that meme. That was mine. Now, if I had teams of lawyers, which I don't, sure, maybe I'd go after my $15,000. It'd be great to have it. But no, I don't want that to be compulsory. I don't want other people to not make memes that are funny, that make me laugh, that give me a hearty guffaw. Well, do we want a world, an internet where people are getting sued for posting dank memes? I think not. So what we need to do, table the Case Act. We need to get back to arguing about Baltimore, Maryland, because I think that's it. Everybody needs to line up and defend the corruption and the crime and the poverty and the rats found in Baltimore, Maryland, because that is the national conversation. While we're arguing about Baltimore, Maryland, they're going to outlaw memes on the internet. Just remember that, though. There's always a trade-off. I mean, the shiny thing over here, Trump's tweets, Elijah Cummings saying that Trump is racist for calling out his disgusting city that's filled with rats. That is the shiny thing over there. And then while they're doing that, Congress is going to get together. Instead of getting rid of the rats in Baltimore, they're going to be fining you for sharing dank memes. And yeah, so everybody, back to Baltimore, guys. Back to Baltimore. Speaking of, we've got this. This is a gem. The creator of The Wire and a star of said program, The Wire, are bashing Trump as racist over his comments on Baltimore. Yeah, both the creator and star of The Wire publicly criticized President Trump for negative comments he made about Baltimore City. Trump sent out a series of tweets. He criticized Elijah Cummings as a brutal bully, said that his city of Baltimore is a disgusting rat and rodent-infested mess. All right, well, the creator of The Wire is now speaking out. David Simon, who created the acclaimed series depicting crime, political corruption, and violence in Baltimore, took to Twitter to deride Trump for his comments. If this empty suit race-hating fraud had to actually visit West Baltimore for 5 minutes and meet any of the American citizens who endure there, he'd wet himself. The Emmy-winning writer previously wrote for Baltimore Sun, where he mostly covered crime in the city, a subject about which he also wrote several books. So this guy, David Simon wrote about, profited from, made a TV show about, dramatized, cashed checks, all based on this gritty reality he portrayed on The Wire. This guy enriched himself on the corruption of Baltimore. I didn't watch all of The Wire, so I don't know if he really tackled the rat situation. So a guy who is lined his pockets by illustrating, highlighting, dramatizing the crime in Baltimore is now calling the president racist for pointing out the problems in Baltimore. That is rich. That's what that is. So back to Baltimore, everybody. Forget that the dank memes are getting fined. Everybody back to Baltimore. Hey, by the way, you know that Equifax, those guys are on the hook for like $700 million or more for a breach, a security breach. Have you gone to claim your $125 from Equifax yet? And there's a way to do it, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. I thought I was going to get $125. I might not be getting the full amount. You might be, or you might not be. We're going to walk through it. How to make your claim and find out what you're entitled to from Equifax. Let's do that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Love everything about cars? Then check out my show, Auto Talk Live. I'll talk about everything automotive, from new cars to cool tech and car buying tips. Your escape from politics, reality shows, and everyday life. It's educational and entertaining. So join me, JP Palooga, every Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. for Auto Talk Live. Live on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
Hi, this is Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady with iBank Mortgage. What's going on in the home mortgage business? After several years of record low interest rates, a terrible recession, and plummeting home values, things are finally turning around. But what does that mean to those interest rates and home values? What's Congress going to do to us? Join me Monday morning at 8 and I'll tell you what's happening in today's still changing mortgage world. It's the mortgage lady with Ludi at iBank. Every Monday morning at 8. You ask the questions, I'll give you the answers.
I'm Ed Parami, the owner of JanPro, the franchise that helps you be your own boss. JanPro is now the fastest growing franchise in the entire world for the second year in a row by Entrepreneur Magazine. We are growing so fast we need new business owners right here in Memphis right now. So if you want to be your own boss and open your own business, call JanPro at 901-683-4900 to see just how easy it is to be your own boss. For as little as $950 down, you can be a part of JanPro. Don't waste another minute. Call 901-683-4900.
Don't miss Maine and Mulberry Live every Thursday morning at 8 right here on KWAM The Voice. Maine and Mulberry Live explores the crossroads of modernization and small-town tradition, exemplified in Collierville, Tennessee. Host Keith Essery sits down with local entrepreneurs, thriving businesses, city officials, and thought leaders right here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Tune in and learn how a town comes of age with economic growth. Maine and Mulberry Live is brought to you by John Green & Company Realtors, building neighbors for 40 years.
This is a public service announcement test from TakeMeFishing.org to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before heading out on the water. Let's begin. Are you a bear? Do you have a beak? Does your name rhyme with Ald Beagle? Do you dart in front of cars? Here's a tough one. Do you have plumage? Do you rub your body against things to mark them? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... Were you hatched? Do you have fur? I'm not talking back hair. Does your boat fly south for the winter with the other boats? Regardless of how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at TakeMeFishing.org.
Wake up, Memphis, wake up. Tune in every Saturday at 2 p.m. to Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Badge. To be informed of hard-hitting issues like public safety, police community relations, and how your tax dollars are being spent. Join in on the conversation to share the facts. Sponsored by the men and women of the Memphis Police Association that protect this city every day. Remember, every Saturday, 2 p.m., Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Bag, here at KWAM.
Now on FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube Live right now. Subscribe to the channel. It's Nation of Jake, one word, run it all together, Nation of Jake. You can get me on Facebook and on Twitter as well. Just in case Wednesday I get traded at the radio trade deadline, you'll know where to find me online. I may end up on a different radio station. Who knows? Maybe I'll be on WRVR on Thursday morning, and Ron Olson will be right here. I know that Earl Farrell would like that probably, having Ron Olson here. He's good buddies with Olson. But who knows? Earl Farrell could get traded, and he could end up on Kicks 106. You just don't know at the radio trade deadline. You got to be very careful around this time of year. Everybody's on edge. I actually did, during that last message from our sponsors, I drafted a memo I am working on to send to George Bryant, the president and king of The Voice. I've emailed him, or I will email him, it's in my drafts right now, a list of my trade demands. All right, I don't like making demands, but I'm going to tell him where I will accept a trade, where I would like to be traded, and where I definitely will not give him any value. All right, you're not going to hear me on K-Love or any NPR station. All right, WKNO's, and this is not going to happen for me. All right, I will retire before I go work for an NPR station or a Christian station. And it's no offense to any of my Christian friends. You just know I wouldn't fit over there. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't work within that box. I get loose with the language sometimes, and I can't really tackle the fun stuff on a station like that. So, radio trade deadline coming up. More on that in the coming days, and we'll let you know how that's shaping up. I'm pretty sure Earl's going to end up on a hip-hop station, and I cannot wait to hear Earl on a hip-hop morning show, just over on K97 Jams. He and Devin Steele holding it down. That would be fantastic. All right, so over the weekend, I was alerted to this whole Equifax data breach. I know that Equifax had gotten into some trouble because they exposed people's data, all right, just like Facebook does, Cambridge Analytica, all that kind of stuff. But now that I know that consumers affected by the 2017 Equifax data breach, that's most U.S. adults who have credit, can get their names on the list to get free credit monitoring or monetary compensation. That's right. I'll take the monetary compensation, please. You can see if you're included by visiting the settlement website, which I don't have in front of me, but you can go find it. It's like Equifax breach settlement .edu or org or something like that. The compensation you apply for may not be what you end up with. All right. Now, the key language here is that you could qualify for 4 years of free credit monitoring or monetary compensation up to $125. Up to is it. All right. And more on that in a second. As a up to. It's like people say, oh, houses from this price. It's never that price. It's always above it. So you can get the free monitoring or the $125, up to $125. Here's what you need to know. All affected consumers can get free credit monitoring. Or if you already have that, you can apply for the compensation of up to $125. Now, if you've already got credit monitoring or you monitor your own credit, I'm sure that our friend, what's his name, dude? No. Well, yeah, Randy Hutchins from the Better Business Bureau. He's good. Well, Clark Howard, who you hear, he can teach you how to do that. You get a pen, you watch your own credit. You are choosing between a guaranteed minimum amount of free credit monitoring or the compensation that could be a lot less than $125, depending on how many people apply. You see? I'm telling you to go and do this when I shouldn't be. Because the more people who go and claim the cash, the less cash there will be for everybody. So Equifax is hoping that nobody does. I'm hoping that only a few people do. See what I'm saying? The value you get from free monitoring gives you 4 years of free monitoring from Experian that covers the three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. The lowest price Experian advertises on its website is $19.99 a month. So if you do the math, you can opt to get 4 years of that. That's a chunk of change. But if you want the cash you can go ahead and apply for that as well. But here's the problem. The value that you get is probably better for the credit monitoring than the cash, because the settlement terms say that alternative reimbursement claims will be paid from a $31 million bucket. So if there are enough claims to empty that bucket, the amount each person gets will drop as the pool of money is distributed proportionally. The odds of getting the maximum $125, there would need to be no more than 248,000 approved claims out of the 147 million consumers affected, or less than 1/5 of 1% for approved applicants to get the full $125. So, I guess my best advice here is just don't take any action at all, because I don't want you guys to cut into my possibility of getting the maximum amount of $125. But think about that. You go to this website and you type in your last name and then like the last 6 digits of your social, and then it says you have been impacted or you have not been impacted. If you have not been impacted, you just go, whoo, okay, nobody's got my info that you know of, and you go about your day. If you were impacted, you go read through and you choose, do you want the credit monitoring or do you want the money? And I mean, I chose the money because I've already got credit monitoring, but I'm going to get like 16 cents. This is not going to be cool at all, because that's what's going to happen. And I do find it weird, though, that I'm going on another website, okay? Equifax has already breached my information in 2017. So I go on a website that is presumably run by people they hired or themselves, and I'm typing in more of my information. So you already breached my information. Why am I even going on your website at all? Is this safe? And so you type in your information to find out that, yes, you've been impacted, like most adult humans in the country who have any kind of credit. And then they offer you credit monitoring. I'm like, hold on a second. You guys, why would I trust you to monitor my credit? I don't care if it's Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. They're all compromised. Like your information is out there. Really, if anybody wanted to single you out and get your info, they can get it. I don't care where they're from. I don't care if they're from Russia. I don't care if these are Chinese hackers. I don't care if they are from the rat-infested city of Baltimore, MD. I don't care if they're from Luxembourg. They can get your stuff. It's out there. That said, I want my $125. And I want my wife's $125. And then I want to start just putting the lid on this and telling people to stop. Just don't even do it. It's not even worth it. It's not worth going through the hassle. Seriously, just don't do it, because the more people do it, the less chance I get my $125. So that's the story with the Equifax data breach settlement offer. It's funny, I have to credit somebody with this. I have to credit AOC, because that's where I saw it. Somebody retweeted her talking about your $125, and she got on her Twitter. She said, hey, $125 is a good chunk of change. Stand up to this credit outfit, Equifax, who was not responsible with your information, and get your $125. Well, she didn't read the fine print either. And everybody's like going, this thing's going to be 16 cents now. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, AOC. That said, I'm looking forward to getting my check for 16 cents. I'm going to put that away and plan my family's future. All right. So here's the thing, though. I could use the money, because if I get traded to a station in Seattle on the radio trade deadline, I'm going to need every ounce of money. And I know that money is not measured in ounces. I'm going to need every penny, all 16 of those cents, to make that move across the country. Because here's the thing about radio: when you get traded, they don't pay for reload or anything like that. It's all on you. And you got to, my wife's got to get a gig out there. We got to find a place. So I'm hoping to stay in town just for the convenience of it. But, going through it, I could do a country station. I could do talk. I could talk radio again. Just depends. Depends what kind of show. I could do definitely a rock station. I might stretch my legs and do the soul classics thing. I hope that's where I end up. I got a lot of soul. So if I ended up on 103.5 Soul Classics, that's totally cool with me. I just maybe got to put it out there, because a lot of the times you just got to let it be known that you are requesting a trade at the trade deadline. And I think that people they're hesitant to do that. And that's why I don't see a lot of radio trades anymore. And I'm sure that Earl has a lot of places that he would like to go, different formats he'd like to try out. I remember that Earl, I think that you got traded down to the rock station, and then it was very short-lived. But then he was back very soon. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of that. And it might have been a little too loud for Earl. I'm not so sure. But you know what they say, if it's too loud, turn it down. All right, coming up, we've got some more headlines from around Memphis and around the world. We'll do it in the news cruise next right here in the Nation of Jake.
Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. The search for a motive continues in Gilroy, California, where a gunman opened fire on a crowd at the city's annual Garlic Festival, killing 3 and wounding 12 before he was shot dead by police. Craig Fair is the FBI agent in charge.
Our preeminent and principal concern at this point is motivation, ideological leanings. Was he affiliated with anyone or any group? That still has to be ruled out, still has to be determined at this point.
The police are getting high marks for bravery and their quick response. They engaged the suspect, 19-year-old Santino Ligon, in about a minute after the shooting began. Police Chief Scott Smithy.
Despite the fact that they were outgunned with their handguns against a rifle, those 3 officers were able to fatally wound that suspect, and the event ended very quickly.
The search does continue for any possible accomplice. CBS News Update, I'm Jim Chenevey.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Marie Pisano of the Finding My Yes radio show. We got a new talk show that interviews celebrities in film, music, TV, and some interesting people from Memphis to around the world. We even feature some music from emerging artists. Don't miss us Sundays at 4 p.m. right here on The Voice FM 107.9 and AM 990. Brought to you by ECT Go Heroic.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
I talk with healthcare professionals to bring you the latest wellness information Tuesdays and Thursdays on Live Life Well. Listen in and get tips like this to help you get started on your road to wellness.
The highest hurdle most of us ever get over is getting started on doing something every day. Start with a 5-minute walk every day. Have some comfort close by bedside. Jump on your treadmill, your stationary bike, or your sidewalk. Do 5 minutes and then go take a shower and get ready for your morning.
I'm Bernadette Davis, and I've got you covered every Tuesday and Thursday on Live Life Well. Listen in during the Mary Beth Conley Show, streaming live on KWAM The Voice.com.
This is Clark Howard. Drug company stocks soared into the stratosphere recently when they won a lawsuit that invalidated a federal rule that would require that they publish in their TV ads telling you how great a drug is, what it actually costs to get that drug. Because the drug makers knew that if they had to tell you that this miracle drug they're pushing would cost who knows how much money, and they had to tell you what that how much was, that people wouldn't be excited about asking their doctor for it. You got to understand the game, and the drug makers don't want you to. They con you into going into the doctor's office and pushing him or her to write you a script for it because you're sold on it by the ad. Don't fall for that. Instead, know what inexpensive alternatives are. Like take the Walmart $4 prescription list in with you when you go to see your doctor.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor. Hey, I'm Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench.
I used to hit dingers and throw lasers when I was a Major League Baseball player. Now I do yard work, raise my boys, and get the occasional 18 holes in, but I still have to deal with that Hall of Fame pain. I use Blue Emu pain relief products. The Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis or Continuous Spray are easy to use. I just spray or rub it on. No stinging or burning. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
Very hard to listen to this music and not start singing it. Gone Daddy Gone, Little Violent Femmes here. In the bumper music rotation in the Nation of Jake, we are streaming live on the YouTube. You can go check out Nation of Jake there on YouTube. Also on Facebook and on Twitter at Nation of Jake. Time to get caught up on the headlines. We do this on the news cruise. A leisurely look as we hop on this boat and just sail. Sail through the news in the Nation of Jake.
News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The news cruise. Full of exciting news. The news cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes.
All right, welcome aboard. We are sailing on the news cruise, brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services, 751-3934, 751-3934. They can, of course, clean your windows. They also do a host of other services. That's right, they can clean out your gutters. They can also do pressure washing. You got a deck, you got the siding on your house, you got a patio or walkway that needs to be pressure washed. They can do it. They can also clean blinds, ceiling fans. They can clean your roof off, man. You got debris up there. Last thing you want on your roof is debris. So give them a call, 751-3934. That's Just Windows Home Services. You tell them the Nation of Jake sent you. You'll get 20% off that free estimate. 20% off with Just Windows Home Services, 751-3934. Or online at justwindowsmemphis.com. First up in the news cruise, there's plenty of stuff to get to today. Over the weekend, they wrapped up the inaugural WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, and then just hours later, the PGA announced the event will be moved to a new date in the year 2020 because the Olympics in Tokyo has forced the PGA to rearrange their schedule. All right, that means instead of hosting the tournament in July, as in previous years, Memphis will be welcoming the WGC from June 29th to July 5th. That'll be over a July 4th weekend, right? So that'll be different. You know, a lot of people usually go out of town on that weekend. Maybe they'll be staying in because there were a lot of people at PGA Southwind. Watching it yesterday, Brooks Koepka, the big winner of the FedEx St. Jude Invitational. I mean, were a lot more people. Even when I was there on Thursday, the crowd seemed a little bit fuller for that time. It is value and scarcity. You've got top 50 golfers in the world. You've got later tee times, and you got less golf. But the quality is all distilled. So people are wanting to get in there, and it's going to be changed. So that's one of the first things after the inaugural event at TPC Southwind. So that's new and different. Congratulations to Brooks Koepka and the city of Memphis. A fantastic event for everybody. Looked great on TV. The weather cooperated, was perfect. I wouldn't get used to that, though. There's going to be some serious hellscape and butt sweat coming up in future years. We've got not only Steve Cohen unblocking people on Twitter, but check it out. Across Tennessee, lawmakers are unblocking Twitter critics. And it's all due to this court case. The Second Court of Appeals ruled that President Trump could not legally block people without potential violation of their First Amendment rights. And in Tennessee, lawmakers have taken notice of that ruling, and are acting accordingly. We talked about Steve Cohen has unblocked everybody on Twitter. Now he just mutes them, which is kind of a cop-out. Another Tennessee congressman, Representative Tim Burchett, he doesn't block anyone from his official account. And that's according to his chief of staff. But he has blocked people from his personal account in the past. So he's unblocking people out of an abundance of caution so as not to get sued. You've got legislative lawyers are warning lawmakers not to block people. But then there are some lawmakers who are saying, oh, this is dumb. I'll continue to block people because I like blocking people. Andy Holt, state representative out of Dresden. This is a guy who encouraged people to burn their red light tickets, red light violation tickets, and also he gives away AR-15s whenever he can. He said it was a stupid court case, and he will block people once they begin cursing at him on Twitter, and he doesn't plan on changing the policy. He says it's a stupid court decision that will be overruled at some point. The First Amendment guarantees the right of free speech, no doubt, but it does not require for a person to listen to or read your opinion or thoughts. I guess, I don't know how it stands up in the courts, but if you are using the Twitter account as an official platform and you are denying people's rights to partake in the public forum, then the court has ruled what it's ruled. But you keep doing you, and then somebody out there will sue you. Essentially, they will. Sooner or later, somebody's going to sue you. So hopefully not for sharing dank memes. That was earlier that we were talking about a piece of legislation, bipartisan legislation, that is making its way through Congress that will make it easier for people to sue you if you share copyrighted content, say on Twitter, which I think is an awful idea. Hey, here's some good news from the hometown. Memphis Police Director Mike Rawlings was named Tennessee's Police Chief of the Year. Rawlings said the award should really go to all the officers in his department, which is a very nice thing to say, but it's an award for the Police Chief of the Year. And you can't have a bunch of chiefs, because if everybody's a chief, nobody is. Director Rawlings, he says, I wish I could, it's a marble award. I wish I could break it up and give every piece to every officer. Well, why can't you? But after being broken up 3,000 times, I don't think it would be much to look at, so I want to keep it, he says. Again, I'm humbled and honored, and again, it speaks to the sacrifices our officers make. So congratulations to Director Rawlings. Oh, now this is something I think Director Rawlings, the Police Chief of the Year in the state of Tennessee, would agree with me on, is that if you're going to buy stuff on Facebook, make the seller meet you, or the buyer meet you at a police station, because all too often we read about people getting jacked for their cars or their merchandise through a Facebook marketplace sale. The latest is a 22-year-old Memphis man is facing serious charges after police say he robbed and shot a man who responded to his online ad for a car. It only took police 2 days to find and arrest Cameron Dillard, who is now charged with especially aggravated robbery. It wasn't just aggravated robbery, this was especially aggravated. According to court records, Dillard lured another man with a Facebook marketplace ad for a car, then pistol whipped him, robbed, and shot him. So, look, I would just maybe not buy stuff off Facebook. If you do, make them meet you at the police station. If they don't want to meet you at a police station, then you don't want to buy it from them. Whatever it is. Car, shoes, whatever you're buying, just, I don't know, get creeped out by that. Unless you know the person, then it's fine. Oh, this is new today. Jerry Lawler has filed a wrongful death suit against Hardeman County concerning the death of his son, Brian Lawler. All right, and the way this is written is really odd. It says the father of former professional wrestler Brian Lawler has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Hardeman County Sheriff John Doolin, and others for their alleged failure to protect Lawler, Jerry Lawler's attorneys announced Monday. Brian Lawler, also known as Brian Christopher, who died a year ago Monday, was found hanging in an isolated cell in the Hardeman County Jail. His father, Jerry Lawler, has questioned whether the death was, in fact, a suicide. Lawler is seeking compensatory damages and punitive damages in the amount to be determined by a jury for the numerous failures of the county and its employees that resulted in the wrongful death of his son, the firm Rosenblum and Reisman said in a news release. Now, Earl, you've worked in law enforcement before.
Yes.
The number one charge for police who have somebody in custody is keep that person safe.
Absolutely.
So whether Brian Lawler committed suicide in his cell or something else happened, it's obviously something nobody wants to see. Even suicide, it's a failure to keep him safe. He had the tools, or he should have been put on suicide watch, or there should have been protocols in place to prevent him from being able to do so.
Correct.
All right, so this is actually breaking. They're just having a press conference as we speak, and once we know more of the details, we'll have more for it. But just the top line there is Jerry Lawler, the father of Brian Lawler, is filing a wrongful death lawsuit against Hardeman County, and I'm sure they'll investigate exactly how this all went down. But there must be enough funny with the story. And look, Jerry Lawler lost his son, and he is obviously and rightfully distraught about it. And he, above all, I'm sure Jerry just wants to get to the bottom of it, what happened. So, and I think that we can all kind of sympathize with him. This story, this next story, a little bit different note, but this happened Walnut Grove Baptist Hospital East Hotel at the Hampton Inn. A woman woke up in a hotel bed to find a snake in her bed. And I'm sure that has happened to multiple women, but this is a literal snake, not just a guy that she bedded down with. All right, I would not like to, I don't want to make any assumptions. She woke up with a literal snake in her bed. It was a green snake coiled up on top of her comforter. So she tweeted this out, and listen, they say that snakes are becoming a problem. We've had very wet weather here in the first half of 2019, so they're finding refuge in Memphis hotel rooms. It was tiny. The snake was little. You're going to see this as a headline because it's bizarre. Oh my God! I woke up in this Hampton Inn, which is a pretty good hotel chain, to a snake in my bed. But it was just tiny. I don't think the snake could have hurt her.
Green garter.
Little green garter snake. It was cute, really. Just throw it across the room, go back to sleep. It'll be okay. Or just throw it out in the hall, put it on the cart, the room service cart, and you'll be okay. And I got a few more things, but not really worth getting to on the cruise because time is drawing nigh to wrap things up and get it handed over to Earl Farrell. I would like to share my thoughts on Hamilton. I was able to see Hamilton on Saturday night at the Orpheum. Earl is also seeing Hamilton. We will confer and review the Broadway show that we were treated to over the past few weeks. Hamilton, the review, coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs, those little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Memphis Cheer reminds listeners that many accidents are the result of distracted drivers talking or texting on their cell phones. Cell phone usage while driving is quickly becoming a problem on our roadways, so do your part to keep our streets safe and put the phone down while driving. This message is courtesy of your good friends at Memphis Cheer. We are located at 1375 Big Orange Road in Cordova. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake, and with the few minutes we have left, I want to talk to my man Earl Farrell, whose program is coming up in about 10 minutes, all about the production of Hamilton that we got to see. I saw it on Saturday night. I went to the Orpheum, and I don't know who pulled what string, but I got into that little room on the corner.
Oh, the producer's room, yeah.
Whatever it was, I got into that room and they had just a ton of shrimp. And man, I crushed it. They were sorry they let me in. You put me in a room with that much shrimp and that much cocktail sauce, I'm going to make you pay. That's right. I'm going to get my money's worth, even though I got in there for free. I don't know how. But I ate so much shrimp. And they had like little shrimp and grits, and they had this little prime rib thing. So we ate, and the drinks were free. They were serving up Aaron Bourbon and Coke. And Hamiltinis, so that was a high society night. Man, the production of Hamilton, I thought it was for sure going to be overhyped. I was like, there's no way it's as good as everybody has said it is, because for years, people are going, it's life-changing, it's amazing, it's the greatest thing you'll ever see. And I got to say, it lived up to the hype. It was a great show. Earl, you're right. Like, it works. Like, the hip-hop element telling the story of Alexander Hamilton, which is, is a story that doesn't get told a lot because Hamilton was never a president. We tend to, in this country, just lionize presidents, and everybody knows the stories of these presidents. The only thing you know about Alexander Hamilton from the textbooks is he was shot in a duel by Aaron Burr. That's it.
Yep.
But he contributed so much more to our history, our nation, the first Treasury Secretary under George Washington, and before that, during the Revolution, he was like George Washington's right-hand dude. He was really well on his way to being president until that whole sex scandal, which nobody knows about.
No.
The whole Reynolds pamphlet. And so, honestly, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, look, everybody loves Hamilton, right? He's the star of the show. Talk about how great he was. He was paying off prostitutes and porn stars with hush money before Donald Trump was a thing, man. We're talking about back in like 1790s.
But he said he didn't use the government money. It was his money.
Right, it was his money.
Yeah.
But either way, there wasn't campaign donations. It was, but he actually came out and admitted to it in a pamphlet. And then Thomas Jefferson and James Madison were like, "What'd you do?" Honestly, man, I thought the Thomas Jefferson thing was the best. Thomas Jefferson was great. Aaron Burr, the guy who played really Aaron Burr, was fantastic. That's got to be tough because he's kind of the narrator. He's kind of telling this whole story. And so, from that perspective. But you're right, the hip-hop works, even though, like, when you're at a show, a musical especially, you're not going to get every word.
Yeah.
And that's part of the art of a musical is to convey it through feeling. There's a lot of callbacks.
That was the other thing I noticed was that they acted. They weren't just singers out there singing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were really good actors, and they were communicating with the audience through every ability they had.
That's part of it. Like, when you go to an opera, I mean, hell, you don't know Italian. You're not taking this all literally. You're taking it as the whole. I had a buddy who said he had an app, and he was able to watch with closed captions so he could keep up with everything. I'm like, It's terrible.
I
That's
know.
like takes away from the
You're
art
not
of it.
watching the show.
Right, you're not, exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, I thought it was fantastic. And if it comes back, I think 2023, it may be coming back. I would say get in line, man. Get yourself a ticket. Or look for a deal elsewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get traded to where they're doing it. All right, later.
KWAM, your news and information station with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.